Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the January 9th, 2024 Town Council meeting. I would ask at this time that we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I would ask that we take a moment of silence to reflect on the lives that we've lost recently, not only in our town, but in our neighboring towns. Thank you. I have to announce that in accordance with Mass General Law, this meeting is being audio and video recorded, and I would ask if anyone in the audience is recording. Okay, seeing no one in the audience, we're going to jump right ahead. Public comments. Jeannie, did anyone sign up for public comments?
No, no one has.
Okay. Don, it doesn't look like anyone's in the audience.
Nope.
So I'm assuming there's
Not
no
a-
public comments, which is great. Council comments. Any counselors have anything they would like to share?
I know this is in the report, but I just want to say the snow plowers and the DPW did an excellent job.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
When I
Amazing.
woke up at 6 or so in the morning the next day, driving into work, I was just like, it was amazed to see how well our streets are, especially compared, not going to name other communities, but how well our streets were done. So I just, I think we did a bang out job
Excellent.
this storm. So
and there was no 2-hour delay, which was nice for all parents. The kids weren't happy, but too bad. That is right.
So I've got a couple items. I just want to mention that we are having a second meeting on the 23rd. We will be meeting with the school committee to discuss the upcoming budget cycle, the condition of East Long Meadow financial condition, what we're projecting as far as budgets, and it's basically a charter requirement every year that we meet and go through everything with the school committee. So that'll be on the 23rd. I've also scheduled on the 23rd. It's been 6 months since we hired our town manager, and I think it's time for us to take a look at the goals that we've set. Ask him how he's doing with them and go through those and see if there's anything we can help with. I know
6 years.
I'd also like at the next meeting, we're gonna have a discussion. We do have free cash. I know we haven't done anything with the OPEB fund lately. There's some stabilization funds, the municipal light plant. So there's a lot of different items, but what I'm hoping for is the next meeting to have more of an open discussion of different items. So any of the counselors think of anything, whether it be finances or something else, next meeting's the time. And like I said, we'll go into everything and we'll give our town manager a chance to go through everything. And I think it's good once in a while to have more of a working meeting like that. Tuesday, the 16th, the planning board is having another hearing, 330 Chestnut Street. This is the one for the proposed warehouse. John was very involved with it, and it is coming back to the planning board. They're going to reopen the public hearing, I believe, get some more public input and stuff. So that's next Tuesday. The only other thing, we were brought a notice about an Eagle Scout.
Sebastian Aliador.
And that was back in 2019. And with COVID and all, we weren't able to do anything. So Connors graciously agreed to do a presentation for us. And we appreciate that. Thank you.
Sebastian was the rail trail. He painted the rail trail, right?
I don't remember what his
Yeah.
project was, but probably.
Yeah. He gave us a nice wheel because he wasn't allowed to keep any of his stuff. So he gave DPW the wheel he used to measure it out and the stencils if we wanted to keep it up. But yeah,
He
Awesome.
lives around the corner from me. He's a good kid. That was a great project.
Nice. Thank you.
Okay, any other comments? I was hoping to get to 6:15, but so town managers report.
Yeah, this isn't gonna get you to 6:15. Yeah, good evening, everyone. I was kidding before. It doesn't feel like 6 years. It's been a fun 6 months. Happy to have Rebecca in the fold now too. Things are starting to really cruise at the right time. So we're excited. So happy New Year, calendar New Year. Again, not much to report from our last council meeting. But we certainly have a exciting year to look forward to, breaking ground on the high school, like you said, fiber. We got plenty of projects in the wings, and we're excited to get going here. We met Westcom Board of Directors and the Finance Committee met today to finalize the budget that has to be submitted by January 20th to the state. The budget increased quite a bit. I mean, it's a small budget, but it went up $1 million, which is equivalent to 20%. Half of that was computer-aided dispatch system and records management system, which have sort of become outdated. And this will be a recurring, obviously we won't see a 20% jump next year because the number will be in the budget already, but this $500,000 is how much it costs to run that system. So our assessment will, with the new budget and the fact that we don't have the 50-50 split anymore with Westcom or the state, our assessment will be somewhere around 160,000, up from 80 and change. The review committee for the school building committee received proposals from contractors last week. So that process continues to move forward. They are interviewing prospective contractors Friday, January 19th. And then after some discussion, and we'll choose a contractor for the high school project. First plowable snowfall of the year. Quite a interesting storm. Seemed like 3 separate storms. I know every time I looked out the window, I had to shovel again. But thank you to DPW, Bruce, Daryl, all the guys. It's really something that they excel at, and this storm was no different. Aaron sent over some fun facts from COA for the last year. I was trying to remember the last year's number on the way over, but 700 new memberships this year. I think last year was 600 and something. So,
Amazing.
I mean, it's a fun place to come, and the numbers show it. They delivered over 11,000 Meals on Wheels, 7,000 Tri-Town trolley rides, and there were 92 volunteers that put in over 8,000 hours at the COA.
That's amazing.
It is amazing. A tremendous community effort, and obviously the staff at the COA. So we thank you. As Ralph said, we'll have a second meeting this month. I'm looking forward to that. We'll have our Q2 finances too to look at that point. But we do have a lot of projects that are either upcoming or sort of have found their way to the red zone, if you will. We're at the 10-yard line, and we got to start maybe prioritizing what we want to do and where we want to go. So I look forward to that discussion, because I do think this is a collaborative group, and I'm happy to have that conversation kind of with all of you. We have our first capital advisory committee meeting Thursday at 11:30, January 11th. That will be Zoom. They're hoping to have the rest of them in person. This is just sort of a administrative meeting, I guess, from what I understand. And then level one budgets are due January 19th as well. So I think we talked to Kim on Monday. I think a few have been submitted already. And so we'll just keep an eye on those rolling in. And that's about it for tonight.
Thank you.
Questions? Two questions.
Yep.
I know Westcom had talked about increasing the bonding.
Yep.
And do we need to be voting on something?
It does not require a vote. The executive director, I got confirmation on that today. It was my understanding that just by emailing it to you that day, that was a good enough notification. But we'll put it on the agenda for the 23rd.
Okay.
So everybody's aware of it. The council doesn't we don't need a vote of the council for that.
Okay.
And from what I understand, most of or all of the construction costs of the building will be reimbursed by the state.
Oh.
Just hopefully the
Um,
word right now.
Yeah.
and I,
So I'll put that in the packet for 2 Tuesdays from now so that everybody can
okay.
see that letter.
Yeah, I know I received it and then I immediately received something else afterwards. Hold on.
Yeah.
And then,
So
so I wasn't sure where that stood.
there has to be proof that the communities are aware.
Okay,
Basically, so it's either that correspondence or a copy of the agenda with the minutes.
Yep.
And she sends that to the state from all 5 communities and that sort of covers it.
Okay.
But we can throw that on the agenda for the 23rd.
and then the other thing I wanted to point out was that I know you said our contributions increasing from roughly 80,000 to 160,000. But I just wanted to point out that when we had our own dispatch, I believe the budget was somewhere in the 400 or 450,000 a year range.
Yeah,
There's still a considerable savings in us doing a regionalization rather than our own.
100% from a monetary standpoint, there's nothing we could do as a community ourselves that would even come close to that number. For instance, that $500,000 computer aided dispatch,
Never really.
you'd have to pay for that ourselves and it wouldn't be 500,000. Right? So it was 100% the right decision.
So we are a couple minutes before our public hearing, so I would entertain a motion to move out of order. Well, actually, let's start with communications, correspondence, and announcements. I have none. So now I will entertain a motion to move out of order to number 8, orders of the day, and continue until 6:15 PM, where we will go back to the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Third.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, orders of the day, licensing matters. I don't believe we have any. This is going quick. Financial matters. We have the approval of a donation from Bay Path. And is there a motion for this?
Sure. I move to approve a $1,000 donation from Bay Path University to the East Long Meadow Fire Department for Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53A.
Second.
Is there any discussion on accepting a donation? Thank you. Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Perfect. Thank you, Bay Path. We greatly appreciate donations. Approval of the minutes. December 12th, 2023. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve the December 12th, 2023 open session minutes.
I will second that.
Motion made and seconded. Further discussion. I had sent one little correction to Jackie. It was more of a spelling error than anything. And I will be abstaining from these because I was not at that meeting. So with that being said, motion made, seconded. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I abstain.
I also abstain.
2 abstentions. And
I have 6:15 on my calendar.
Okay, it is 6:15. So we will go back to number 7, public hearings. This is a continuation of a public hearing for liquor license alteration of the premises for East Village Tavern. Continuation from our December meeting, if I'm correct. Council members present are Anna Jones, Boucher, Kathy Hill, Ralph Page, Marilyn Richards, Connor O'Shea, and John Torsia. I would ask the clerk to read the legal notice into the record.
Notice is hereby given under chapter 138 of the general laws that Mess LLC, DBA East Village Tavern, 53 North Main Street, East Long Meadow, has applied for a change of manager and alteration of licensed premises application. The town council will hold a public hearing on the application on Tuesday, December 12, 2023 at 6:15 PM in the Council on Aging Media Room, 328 North Main Street, East Long Meadow, Mass. The hearing can also be attended via Zoom webinar. For the council, Jean R. Quaglity, town clerk of the council.
You. So at this time, this public hearing will be continued to our February meeting. We are waiting on the planning board. The planning board has been meeting with East Village and they haven't done a recommendation yet. There's still a couple issues that they want to work out. So before we actually do any alteration of the liquor license, we have to know what's allowed and what isn't allowed under the special permit. But it is a public hearing, so technically I have to open it to the public. Is there anyone that would like to speak for or against this at this time, just for, to go on the record? Don, is there anyone online? Okay, so I'm gonna bring that back to the board. We're not gonna close the public hearing. We're going to continue it. And to our February 13th, 2024 meeting. So is there a motion to continue?
I make a motion to continue the public hearing to approve the alteration of premises for Mess LLC doing business as East Village Tavern, 53 North Main Street, to February 13th, 2024 at 6:15 PM.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Is this a roll call vote, public hearing? I think so.
Doesn't hurt. to-
Doesn't hurt to, let's make sure we're correct. So we will do this by a roll call vote. I will start with Anna,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Kathy.
Yes.
I am a yes. Marilyn,
Yes.
Connor,
Yes.
and John. Okay, this has been continued. Thank you very much. Way too quick. So we're gonna jump down to 8D, old business. Discuss a resolution in support of paint stewardship legislation. So if you remember a few years back, a few months back, only last year, we had a gentleman come in under public comment and talk to us about a paint program, which is very similar to the one that they do in Connecticut, where they charge a little bit more per gallon when you purchase the paint. And then the stores actually take back any unused paint. And he's given us some information. I think it's a great program. He's asked if we would consider to do a resolution in support of this. I think it's a good idea. Just want to open it up to the council, see what your thoughts are on it. See if this is something that the council would like to do. Jeannie.
Representative Ford Tomer and Peg Hall here, if she has anything she can add. She's on Zoom.
Awesome. Hello, how are you this evening? Yeah.
I'm just fine. You guys are zipping right along. I'm impressed. So I am Peg Hall. I live in Greenfield, Massachusetts now. I worked in Connecticut as a department head for over 20 years as recycling coordinator and solid waste manager for a town of 29,000. And after retiring from there, I went on to be a consultant working largely with product stewardship, for example, writing the mattress recycling legislation for the state of Connecticut, working for the city of Hartford. I've been doing product stewardship stuff ever since we passed our e-waste law in, I don't know, the early 2000s. I have worked on paint, testified in Vermont and New Hampshire, and am currently volunteering with this little group, which includes Tom, who spoke to you before, just calling ourselves the Paint EPR Advocacy. And I'd be happy to summarize stuff, but you guys are zipping along so fast. Maybe I should just say, are there any questions?
For the council, any questions?
Do you know approximately how many other communities have done a resolution similar to this?
It depends on how you count. If you count the regional entities for the communities that they represent, it would be about 72 in November. Since then, we've added Auburn, Northern Berkshire Solid Waste Management District, Stockbridge, Lee, Hinsdale, Longmeadow, 350 Mass, Berkshire Node, Sheffield, Beckett, and that was also about a week ago. So I think he's probably got three more since then. It's something like 20 or so actual municipalities doing the resolution. You guys already did the endorsement. So I know that East Longmeadow has already expressed their support for this concept, for this legislation. We are seeking the resolutions because we think they will be a little bit more powerful when we get to a certain point of the state. This is I think it's the 7th time. So we've been doing this for over 12 years, not me, at the state. And it has always gotten through the Environment Committee, Environment and Natural Resources, and then it gets stuck at Ways and Means. So we think that these resolutions from municipalities that say, this helps our residents, this is cheaper for us, it's a headache, it takes a little bit out of the waste stream. And what we're really trying to do at this point is affect leadership, because that's what we need to get the thing to move. And you'll notice that the resolution is framed a little bit vaguely. It doesn't specifically say Ways and Means. It says whatever means necessary, because if you've ever paid attention to how the state gets things passed, they use different vehicles to get things through, and we may or may not be in favor of that mechanism, but that's how it seems to work up there. So the idea is, let's get this passed this time. We're really working on a grassroots effort. When Tom went around to different household hazardous waste days and talked to people in line about an easier way to get rid of their oil-based paints, 92% of the people signed. This is a very popular program. And it is in all of the surrounding New England states, with the exception of New Hampshire. And I just moved here from New Hampshire, so I can say that that's not the company we want to be keeping in Massachusetts. It's in place in Rhode Island, Connecticut, New York, Vermont, and Maine, as well as another 5 states plus the District of Columbia.
So if you had your way, would this be volunteer for the retail stores to accept the paint back? Or would it be mandated that, hey, if you sell paint, you have to accept it?
It is absolutely voluntary. And I will tell you what's going to happen. The big box stores will not do it. They don't need to. They're not required to. You won't see Lowe's or Home Depot or Walmart on that list. What you're going to see is every Sherwin-Williams in the country, the CEO has said, we like this, we are supporting this. You will see most of the True Value stores. We have a letter of endorsement from Aubuchon. We are working for one from Carhartt Hardware. There is one from, and I'm sorry, it's only in the Berkshires, but there's about 19 stores there. The little stores like it. It brings in foot traffic that would otherwise go to the big box stores. They're nervous about it at first, and for some reason they don't seem to talk to their compatriots in the other states that are already doing it. If they did, they would find, as we have, that they say, it's not a big deal, we kind of like it, it's fine. They come, they train us, we put a couple toters in the back room. When they're full, we make a phone call, they're here within 2, 3, 4 days. We're allowed to limit it to only 5 gallons a day per person if we're worried about the quantities. Paint Care, which is the nonprofit that runs this program, with the dollars that you put in when you buy a new gallon of paint, they provide the training and any support that's necessary. So it's really a very good program. It's kind of a no-brainer. The only people that are allegedly against it are the Retail Association, and frankly, I don't think they are correctly representing their members.
Anna?
The only store that I can think of in town is Rockies,
Rockies.
right? Is there any others? And,
Kelly Fredette.
oh, Kelly Fredette, okay. So that was gonna be my question. So all they do is take it in, hold it, and then Paint Care comes and picks it up. So it's not really anything additional for them to,
In fact, I stopped by a Sherwin-Williams in New York recently because their program's only been going for about a year and a half, and just walked in off the street and asked him how it was going. And they brought me into the back room and showed it to me. And they basically said it was fine, that they've been a little bit nervous about it, but they've made up a little sign that they can put out front that says, "We're full today, come back soon," and flip it around to say, "Paint available, recycling available here." So the Paint Care is required under this legislation to make sure that at least, I don't remember what the Massachusetts version is, but it's something between 85–90% of the people are required to have a location within 15 miles. So what it boils down to is, if you're truly out in the boonies, you might have to drive just as far as you would to buy a can of paint, but otherwise there's going to be someplace right around your neighborhood that will agree.
great.
What I did like is the volunteer as far as,
Yeah.
so if like Kelly Fredette may not want to do it, but Rockies may
Well,
want to
yeah.
do it.
And the town transfer stations are allowed to do it if they want, and some provide that service and some choose not to. So Paint Care will also do initial paint only collections that they will organize to clean out people's basements so the stores don't get overwhelmed at the beginning. We strongly push for a soft opening. We don't advertise it a lot when the law first comes in, and people sort of learn about it, and then you start advertising after you've sort of done a little bit of clean out.
Great.
So I will bring it back to the board. What is the council's wishes? Would we like to read a resolution and go forwards with it?
Sounds like a good idea.
Sure, yeah.
I don't see any downside to it.
So
And if signing a resolution adds to the number of communities that are, trying to encourage the state leadership to move on this, then I think it's a good idea.
The only point, the first part, the optional if data is readily available, I don't think.
that's what I was gonna say is let's remove the first bullet point because we don't have that data. But we can do,
Beyond that,
yeah.
That's actually the version that we've been using with most towns recently, is taking that out so you don't have to go do the research.
John, would you like to read it?
sure. Resolution in support of paint stewardship legislation, whereas landfill capacity in Massachusetts has rapidly declined and no new capacity is expected, and the costs of hauling and disposal of waste materials have increased by over 30% in the last 5 years and are expected to continue increasing at similar rates. Paint stewardship law would create a convenient collection network to properly manage all architectural paint from business and residential sectors, and substantially decrease inappropriate discarding of paint, which is a toxic substance that can cause harmful environmental pollution. And a paint stewardship law will divert paint from waste disposal to its best and highest use, whereby there will be a small but real decrease in the total waste going to landfills. And paint stewardship laws have been demonstrated as an effective means of diverting paint from landfills in our neighboring states of Connecticut, Rhode Island, Vermont, Maine, and New York. A law supporting discarding of latex and oil-based paints at participating retail stores, transfer stations has strong support from constituents. And municipal waste management systems were established a century ago to manage waste like ashes, food scraps, and horse manure rather than the wide array of manufactured goods, including paint, which dominate today's municipal waste. And the Massachusetts Municipal Association passed a resolution which supports statewide producer responsibility legislation in January 2019. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the East Long Meadow Town Council urges its legislatures to become supporters and co-sponsors of the pending paint stewardship legislation, and the Massachusetts legislature to enact the pending paint stewardship legislation. A paint stewardship law will begin relieving municipalities and consumers of ever-rising solid waste management costs, significantly reduce a toxic waste going to landfills, and decrease greenhouse gases generated by the paint industry by 4%. Pending paint stewardship legislation in the 2023-2024 legislative session includes bills H.823, an act relative to paint recycling, SF 542, an act to establish safe paint stewardship, and S 551, an act relative to paint recycling.
Thank you for reading that in. I would ask that we take a vote on this. All those in favor of the resolution, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No,
No meaning nay.
no meaning nay. Yeah.
Okay. So 1 nay, 6 yes. Ayes. That measure passes. I will sign a resolution and we will get it sent out to you. Thank you
That'd
very.
be great if you can just make sure that the clerk will put it on city letterhead, town letterhead and get it signed, and you can email it to Tom. I think you still have his contact information.
I do.
That would be great. Thank you very
Great.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
New business. 8E, address a proposed bylaw amendment designating the East Long Meadow Police Department as the enforcing agent of the local licensing authority. First reading. Would someone like to read it? Sure.
Am I reading 310 in its entirety? Okay,
If you would,
sure.
unless you want someone else to help out.
Fine. Chapter 310, alcoholic beverages. History adopted by the town council of the town of East Long Meadow as indicated in article histories. Amendments noted where applicable. Article 1, restrictions on public consumption. Adopted as chapter 8, section 8.020 of the 1982 general bylaws. Section 310-1, consumption on public ways prohibited. Amended April 12th, 2022. Whoever shall within the town, whether that public way is a town way, county highway, or a private way open to the public, or in any other place where the public shall have the right of access, consume intoxicating beverages shall be punished by a fine not exceeding $100. This section shall also be construed so as to prohibit the consumption of intoxicating beverages by any person while such person is standing, sitting, running, or otherwise present within such way or public place as here and above defined, or within any vehicle, whether parked or moving, which is within the limits of such public way or place as herein defined. Section 310-2, consumption in public buildings, on public property, or on certain private ways prohibited. Amended April 12th, 2022. Whoever shall consume any intoxicating beverages in any public building or on any public property, including parks, cemeteries, schoolhouses, and school grounds, public squares, or in any private way or parking area regulated under the provisions of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 90, Section 18, shall be punished by a fine not exceeding $100. Section 310-3, exceptions, amended April 12th, 2022. The foregoing sections 310-1 and 310-2 shall not apply to any activity duly licensed by the town council under the applicable provisions of the Massachusetts General Laws. 310-4, enforcement. The East Long Meadow Police Department shall be the enforcing agent of the local licensing authority, LLA, which shall be the town council, and it is their duty to arrest any person who violates the provisions of section 310-1 and 310-2 and to cause such a person to be detained until that person can be taken before a court having jurisdiction over the offense. Article 2, liquor license rules, regulations, and fines. Adopted on January 28th, 2020, Chapter 6, Section 6.050 of the 1982 General Bylaws. 310-5, compliance with state law required additional local restrictions. A, all establishments serving liquor shall abide by all requirements of the Massachusetts General Laws and Regulations of the Alcoholic Beverage Control Commission. In addition, the LLA requires the following. 1, last call for service of alcoholic beverages or drinks shall be 30 minutes before closing. 2, police shall be contacted promptly in the event of any altercation that becomes physical. Section 310-6, violations. The LLA may, after deliberation and hearing, impose penalties for violation of any applicable regulations and laws, including but not limited to the following. A, Sale of alcoholic beverages to persons under the age of 21, permitting persons under the age of 21 to consume, furnishing or causing to be furnished alcoholic beverages to persons under the age of 21. B, absence of manager or substitute manager of record on the licensed premises. C, failure to call police for a physical disturbance on the licensed premises. D, sales of alcoholic beverages to intoxicated persons. E, failure to comply with last call requirement. F, sale and or consumption of alcoholic beverages after closing time, whether by the public, by employees of the licensee or friends of the licensee's employees. G, service of alcohol in impermissible areas of the licensed premises. H, consumption of alcohol by employees of the licensee while on duty. I, substitution of brands of alcoholic beverages. J, failure of licensee or employees of the licensee to permit inspection of the premises by the local licensing authority or its agent. K, sale or possession of alcoholic beverages not permitted by license. L, keg registration violations. M, misrepresentation of material facts on an initial license application or renewal application. N, presence of licensees, managers, or employees on the licensed premises while in intoxicated condition. O, knowing allowance by licensee, manager, or employee of the use of licensed premises for the purpose of engaging in or promoting any illegal activity. Section 310-7, hearings. A, upon written notification to the LLA from the police chief or other law enforcement source that a violation has allegedly occurred on a licensed premises, the LLA will consider whether or not a reasonable basis exists to conduct a violation hearing. If it is determined that a reasonable basis for a violation hearing does not exist, the LLA shall inform the licensee and reporting source. If it is determined that a reasonable basis for a violation hearing exists, the LLA shall send written notice via the United States Postal Service to the licensee, setting forth the alleged violations and a hearing date. B, a licensee may be represented by an attorney or other trial person, but need not be. C, hearings shall be conducted informally without the application of the rules of evidence or the need for testimony under oath. Section 310-8, penalties. A, penalties. 1, for a first offense, the LLA may issue up to a 5-day liquor license suspension. 2, for a second offense within a 24-month period, the LLA may issue up to a 10-day liquor license suspension. 3, for a third or subsequent offense within a 36-month period, the LLA may authorize revocation of the liquor license. B, notwithstanding the above, the LLA may, in its discretion, determine on a case-by-case basis whether any such said suspension or revocation shall be issued or held in abeyance or served. The LLA may, in its discretion, issue a letter of warning to be added to the licensee's file. C, if a subsequent violation occurs during the period of any suspension or abeyance, the licensee shall serve any period remaining in the suspension or abeyance on the violation previously adjudicated and will face an additional penalty for the new violation. D, the LLA shall have the authority in its discretion to issue a more severe penalty, including but not limited to revocation of a license for a first offense, upon determination after hearing on a particular violations that a licensee constitutes a threat to public health and safety based upon said violations. Section 310-9, fees, added December 14th, 2021. A, annual liquor license fees. Wine and malt off premises, $1,000. 2, all alcohol off premises, $2,000. 3, wine and malt on premises, $1,000. 4, all alcohol on premises, $2,200. 5, club, $650. 6, Veterans Club, $650. 7, Farmer Series pouring permit, $500. B, 1-day liquor license, $5. Section 310-10, enforcement. Any police officer of the town is an agent of the LLA and authorized to enforce the provisions of this article.
Thank you very much. So if you remember, well, you may not actually, previously, we have made the police our agents for our local licensing. And we've never memorialized this into a bylaw, and that's all this is doing. So we've already voted on it. They are already our agents. We're just trying to put it into the correct wording into the bylaw. So with that being said, I would entertain a motion to refer this to the bylaw review committee.
I motion to refer to the bylaw review committee for recommendation to the town council, the proposed bylaw amendment designating the East Long Meadow Police Department as the enforcing agent of the local licensing authority. Second.
Having a motion made and seconded, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that measure passes. Off to the bylaw committee. We are on 8E2, approval of a street acceptance of Bella Vista Drive. Jeannie, do we have to read
No, you don't.
description into the record?
The motion.
Awesome. So we're a little early, so unless someone wants to read it, I would suggest that we just make a motion for
I'll read the
this.
motion.
No
Do that.
meets and bounds for you?
I make a motion to approve the street acceptance of Bella Vista Drive.
Second,
Having a motion made and seconded, are we certain that we don't want to read this into the record? Any other
I
discussion?
have a question.
Yes.
Do we have notification from either the planning board or the DPW that they've met all the requirements for the town before we accept the street?
Done everything up to, I believe the planning board is exercising their right to hold 20% of the bond
Okay.
until up to 18 months they can.
Right.
But yeah, DPW has been through it all and they've satisfied all of our requirements.
Perfect, thank you.
But it's been approved by town attorney too.
Okay, good.
Awesome. Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That doesn't have to be roll call, right?
No,
Okay, just making sure. I don't want to have to come back again.
wouldn't hurt when Connor says it doesn't have to be.
Well, it was unanimous, so, okay.
Then after the meeting, Jackie and I will notarize all your signatures on the order.
Okay, the one item that I didn't see on here is action items. So I do want to just point out a couple things for our February meeting. The fee schedule will be coming back. The bylaw review committee met multiple times on it, met with department heads. And I am in the process of compiling all of their suggestions and bringing it all together so that we can do a second reading and a public hearing on it in the February meeting. CPA projects, Jeannie, we're going to be having a couple come forwards, aren't we?
I haven't seen any.
Okay, I was at the CPC meeting and they did recommend I believe two of them. So those will probably be coming forward, so we'll look for those for our February meeting.
February meeting?
Assuming that the CPC gets us all the information we need by then. And then I would also like, there was a item with regards to our voting records. And we were going to have a discussion with regards to keeping track of our votes and stuff. And so I was hoping at our February meeting, we would actually include a discussion on keeping track of that. And I went back through the last year, minutes and agendas, just to see if anything else had slipped through the cracks, and I don't think so. But if there is something, please bring it forwards. Occasionally, we put something off a meeting, and the next thing you know, it's 3 or 4 meetings before we remember it, so. That being said, I'm done talking. Does anyone else have any other action items? Would anyone, we have no executive session tonight. Would anyone like to make a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion.
I second.
Made and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And opposed? No, Connor? Thank you very much.